Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning to all of you. Welcome to Conversations with Dr. Els. It's great having you guys. It's another beautiful day in Barbados. Just getting myself together. So good morning, waiting on you. Good morning, Charlene. Great having you locked on. Great day, beautiful day. And hope all is well there in Trinidad. We are enjoying some sunshine here. So, it's beautiful on the outside as I look through, it's beautiful. Hi, Don. Good morning. How is St. Lucia? Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. It's a lovely day. Pray God's blessing on you today, as we thank God that He has taken us through January 2021, and we are in the month of February. And even though it may be tough, even though it's been hard, even though the days are not what they used to be in time past, God is still indeed good. We are alive and well, and so we want to encourage you to keep trusting. Glad that's a beautiful day in Trinidad. I really miss traveling these islands. It's been such a while I've not been to Trinidad. My last meeting in Trinidad was for WIS Board of Directors meeting, and that was a while. My last visit to St. Lucia was so long. I really need to get back there. I was supposed to be there last year, but again, COVID. Hi, Yvette. Great having you locked on. Good morning from sunshine Barbados to freezing New York City. I pray that you're keeping safe and warm, and I know for sure that the warmth of Christ is in your heart, but I hope that you're keeping the physical temple warm, the body, and you don't get out there and get sick. So, praying for you guys. I've seen the snow. I've seen pictures of the snow and how terrible it looks. But, God is still good, and we're looking forward for yes, Charlene. Charlene says best place on the earth, Trinidad and Tobago. Well, I would not argue that with you, so we would accept that. But it's beautiful to be alive. It's really beautiful to be alive, and God is indeed good. Right now in Barbados, we are having, I think about this time, there's a press conference with the Prime Minister, and most of the times when you hear that, you start kind of wondering, my God, what is it now? But in spite of all of that, God is the supreme being, and so we trust Him, and we will believe that He is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think. And so we are believing Him. We are believing Him for His goodness and His mercies upon us. So today we are celebrating, and even though we may not be able to celebrate the way that we used to in the month of February, this is what is often known as the Love Month. And so today's the second. In a few days time, people will celebrate Valentine's however they can. In a few days, my God, next week Thursday, my first child will be celebrating her birthday, 17 years old. I'm telling you, I don't understand what is happening in my life to have that 17-year-old daughter. I don't know, those of you raising teenagers, help me please. Great having Pastor Gibson on. Great having you. Great looking out, and hope you're doing well. You are back in time, and we're just about to get into our discussion. Today we want to talk about what love got to do with it, and we know that this month, as we said, is usually the month of love, and people do lots of lovely things, but you know, here it is.
Thank you for making
How many of you remember this song?
this one number one.
All right.
But it's only the thrill for me. Yeah, Papa says I'll try. It's physical.
You can do a little jig or something, you know. If you remember this song, maybe a little old school.
And it means more than that. Oh, what's love got to do with it?
Yeah.
What's love but a second hand in
Tell somebody Conversations with Dr. Els is on, and we are in the month of love. So we will be sharing a few things. We will be talking, and I know you will be talking with me, so that's great. And we are just listening to this, we call it an old dolly. And do you remember who sang this song? Come on, you should know it. Don't tell me that you are so spiritual that you don't know this song, right? I know you do. Hey guys, don't be laughing at my singing now. But you know, that's what we're going to talk about. What love got to do. Alright, so hey guys, you know, Tina Turner say, what love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? And so we are asking the question what love has to do with it, and the angle that I'm coming from is the angle of being in relationship and the whole aspect of love in a relationship. Let me just pause and say hi to Pastor Bailey. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. Hope you're keeping safe there in New York, out of the snow. Also, Kuna, my brother, Carl, great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. Good morning, Doran. Blessings on you. Yes, old school Tina Turner. And what love got to do with it. Hi, let me say hi to Monica, Chris, Brown, great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. It's really good seeing you guys on. And yes, Pastor Bailey, please try as much to stay warm and stay safe, right? That's so important. It's been a while. I've been in New York, and so we want you guys to continue to trust God. Continue to see the great things you're doing there. Pastor Bailey, keep it up. I want to encourage you to keep it up. Carl, great having you locked on, and stay safe, my brother. So it's good. So yes, let's begin. We are already 10 minutes into our time. We're talking about what love got to do with it. You know, oftentimes we have people, you know, say that they are falling in love, right? And they see someone as sometimes we say, boy meet girl or girl meet boy, and they fall in love, and they get engaged. For those who go through the what what I would say the normal process, or what used to be the normal process. So boy meet girl, and they started talking, and something in their heart, itch in each other, telling themselves that, hey, this is the one for me. Then boy goes to parents and say, I want your daughter hand in marriage, and they get engaged and they get married and such like that, and they live a life according to the fairy tale, happily ever after. We know in the real world, though, that we don't always have it that way. We do have things like dating sites. So, man or woman get on a dating site and they see somebody, they think it's compatible, and they start talking, and they get married. As a matter of fact, I've known several marriages that the persons met online or on a dating site, and some have been going good in my estimation. They're lasting, and some not so good. But also in the real life, where we go through the normal process as the world has it, you should have some that goes good, and some who that doesn't. So we do understand that in life, relationships, there are those that go good, there are those that seemingly go good, because there are those who show one thing on the outside and another thing on the inside. And we do have the genuine ones, we do have the ones with challenges. And I want to say from the outset, I strongly believe that God loves us all. We are a human being, and God love extends to us, and He reaches out to us no matter where we are and how far people may think that we have gone. So I want to just say that from the outset. And let me pause and say hi to Carol. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. So we are asking the question, what love got to do with it? Okay. So we're talking about this, where people seem to love each other and get into relationships and so on. Some last, some don't last, and such. But the question is, do we have to be? Do people have to be in love to be in a relationship? Okay? Do people have to be in love to be in a relationship? Oh, Carol, you are. Good morning from SVG. You are in SVG. Great. Okay, I will not ask the question, but great seeing you locked on. Good morning. Hope you're safe in SVG. I want to say the best place to be, the best place on earth, but Charlene we may have a little fight, but that's cool. Let me say hi to Regina. Regina, great having you locked on. Hope you are safe. Hope you are staying warm. I also see the snow and such in your area, so be safe and be warm. Right, so we are asking the question, and I need to hear you. I know you have all the wisdom there, and we want to be able to share the wisdom. We have, especially in the West, as I said, I gave you several scenarios where, boy meet girl and such like that. But we have in the East, the opposite. And of course now, because times is changing and times has changed, we have also in the East where you have situation where boy meet girl and you have that such. But before, it was generally that parents will choose, okay, for their daughter who to marry and such like that, and parents make the arrangements and such like that, and we have what was called arranged marriage, okay. So we have that in the East. Guys, let's not fight about the best place on the earth. That's not what we're here for today. We'll probably have a conversation about that. So, let's look at that. Also, let me just welcome Gwen, my cousin. Great having you locked on there from Trinidad. All right. And so, we have that situation. Let's look at both situations where there are arranged marriages, and we even see in the Bible where we had arranged marriages, and what is happening today. And in our type of love relationship where the person has the right to choose, we have problems. And in the arranged marriages, we also have problems. In our type of relationship in the West, we have great times, and in the arranged marriages, they're those with great times. And also, we go to the Bible where we see some issues in the Bible where, again, I talk about persons choosing and such, but when we take Solomon, when we take a situation like Solomon, Solomon had several wives and concubines and such like that. And my question is, do we really need to be in love, and in love the way that we often think about it most of the time, where you have that itch on the heart, where you feel something deep on the inside? And so do we have to be in love to be in a relationship? And I'm not talking about a friendship. I'm not talking about a parents children relationship. I'm not talking about that casual relationship. I'm talking about in a relationship where you decide, hey, we are going to either get married, we're going to be together, we are going to live in the same house, we're going to do things together as a couple. Do we need to be in love for that to happen, and the kind of love that we're talking about? So I want to hear from you guys what you guys think. Is it okay to get in a relationship even if you don't have that kind of love for the person? And also the question is, can you develop that love along the way? So is it advisable for you to get into a relationship? You just meet this person, you think that person is nice, that person is a Christian, or that person just kind of fits some of the things that you believe in, and there is no real flutter on the heart or something like that for that person. But you know what? I want to be with that person. Is that a good thing, or is it a bad thing? What love got to do with it? Do we really have to have that kind of love before we enter into a relationship? Let me pause and just say hi to Pastor Williams, my adopted mom. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els there in Florida. Hope that you are safe. I believe the weather is a little warmer there than it is in New York, so I hope you're staying safe. Kenja, great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els, and great having you guys on. So talk to me, guys. What are your thoughts? Is it right? Is it right for someone to get into a relationship even though they don't have that kind of love for the person? Or let's put it another way. Is it right for somebody to marry for money, or for some other reason? Okay? Is it right for somebody to marry for money, or for some other reason than love? Could we start a relationship by looking at the quality of the person, or looking at what you want to achieve in life, and you meet this person and you figure this person can help me achieve what I'm looking at, and we are on the same page, we may have the same goals and such like that. We can work together helping each other, and so let's get married, or let's be in a relationship, let's be a couple. And then the whole aspect of the love thing can grow. Irene, you are not so late. You're late, but you're not so late, because we're kind of just getting into the topic, and I assume that we will be a little past our half an hour, so you're not that late. And so welcome, Deswin, welcome. And Deswin, we're glad to have you as usual. And you saying that been watching documentaries on arranged marriage and the couples who had all been married for decades and said that love grew over time. So it says that love isn't always there in the beginning, but can come after a time. So that's the question. Is it okay? Because oftentimes in the West, we don't think about that. As a matter of fact, we cry on people, and I'm not talking about whether it's right or wrong or what. Want your views. Oftentimes we cry on people because we say, oh, he only married for money, or she only married for money, and such like that. So the question is, what love got to do with it? Does love have to be the thing there first before you get into the relationship? Or could you develop that whole aspect of love along the way in the relationship? Let me pause again and say my good friends are on. Hi, Jackie, great having you on. Hi, Monette, great having you on. Joyously blessed. I know you are blessed. So great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. Guys, we are talking about what love got to do with it. And so we are asking the question, do we really have to start by being in love before we get into a relationship? You guys are just being on and loving me and loving this program, and I'm loving you guys too. Let me just say hi to Barbara. Good morning to you. Great having you locked on. Erling, yeah, great having you locked on. Conversations with Dr. Els, and it's really great having you guys. Good morning. Let me just say though, I want to take a pause here while you think about what we're discussing, and I want to encourage you to join our Conversations with Dr. Els Facebook group, okay? And so we can continue to, even after now, we can continue to discuss these topics in our group. So yes, good morning, my friend. When I started my relationship, I need to call her name, and you may see it if you're looking at the post or the comment. When I started my relationship, I didn't love her with love for marriage, but God had confirmed to me that she would be my wife. So the marriage love came after. Okay, so here again we have a situation, and you brought something else into this. We have where people said that a prophet or somebody said that, you know, this person would be your spouse, this person would be your wife or your husband, and there was no love there was nothing there. But in obedience, the two persons started talking, and things start working out. And so love can come after the relationship. This is what it's saying. I'm just reading the comments here, because people marry for different reasons. I don't remember where the Bible says love is a requirement for marriage. Wow, you know, this is interesting, because we have been going along for most of the time, and you see somebody, and sometimes the first thing someone will ask you, do you love that person? Well, what do you mean by that? Now, I am not saying that relationships can start with love, or that it is not a good thing if you fall head and heels over the person and such like that. That is awesome. But I'm asking the question, and we're talking about the whole aspect of you know, can love build? For the question is here, is love a feeling or a choice? And that to me is part of the whole issue. Okay, is love a feeling or a choice? Hi Venus, great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. L. So here's what we also have. Bring another scenario where we have, there may be people who fall in love from first. They really love each other, and they do everything together. They all, you know, smoochy and all that kind of thing that we talk about. But later in life, there may be children involved in the relationship, or they get older and such like that. And what happened is that love may seem to wane. So then what do you do? What do you do if that is happening? Let me just a little wipe of the face here. But guys, what happened? So one person is saying that yes, love is a feeling. So now, if love is a feeling, my question would be, what happened when the feeling is not there? Okay? What happens when the feeling is not there if love is a feeling? Somebody said love is a feeling that you feel when you feel that you feel something in your heart that you feel for somebody and such like that. So my question is, if love is a feeling, what happens if the feeling has passed? Now, 1 Corinthians 13 text of marriage, but when we look at it contextually, and this is the Greek scholar speaking here, when we look at it contextually, Paul was not talking about marriage, okay? So he was talking about, I guess, other kinds of love. So the scholar may be able to help us here. Some start as rebound, but it end up in love. So here we have all these scenarios where love may not be the first thing in the equation. Mind you, don't say Dr. Els is saying that you must not have love and you must not develop love and such like that. But the thing is love. The love have to be at the outset. I'm just reading these comments as we have the conversation. I believe it's a choice. There are feelings associated with it, but at the heart of it, I believe that love is a choice. So if love is a choice, and I don't have to have a feeling to be with someone or such like that. Love comes alongside of respect for each other. There are lots of reasons people are getting married today. However, never get married because of lust. And maybe as you say that, I would ask, what is lust? What is lust? So maybe you could expand on that aspect of lust. We also say love is everything, a feeling, a choice, a commitment, a friendship. But could I be with someone if we don't have a friendship at the beginning? Do we have to have a friendship? I know people who never liked each other, okay, and they somehow end up being together and are happy, okay. Love is both feeling and a choice. And that I agree with that also, because at some point there will be a feeling. But here I go back to Solomon, go back to the Bible. Solomon married his wife, and the Bible particularly talk about I guess the daughter of Potiphar in Egypt. He married her because he was making what you call it? Help me out here. It was basically a business decision, if you put it in that. So is it right to marry for a business decision or for money or something like that? Is it right that, like I said earlier, both persons have a goal and they think that we can work together? Is it right to marry for that? Okay. Then, even though it might not start off that way, love is essential for all relationships to succeed, even if you learn to love along the way. Okay, and of course I agree, because love is a fundamental thing, so that if you have to have a good relationship, we can't leave out that aspect of love. Okay, so very important. Without what love got to do with it, it is essential. But the thing is, do we have to start with that type of love? Could we be friends, or could we even be, enemies, if you want to put it that way? I know from childhood days that I've had persons who we were we were fighting. And that may be childhood things, boys and girls do that. We may be fighting on whatever. And then later we became almost like best friends and so. And so we did love each other, but we grow, because that's kind of a just friendship and childhood thing. But when we get into the real crux of the matter, where you're talking about spending the rest of your life with someone, love is essential, but does it have to start at the beginning? Okay. So it's not, but it happens. But some walk out or walk out. So just help me with that. The thing is here that, guys, when we think of relationship, on my point of view, when we think of relationship, we think of just having some sort of feeling, and sometimes this is the reason why many people may either lose out or miss something or so, because the first thing they're looking at is a feeling. And I'm saying that there is a possibility, and we're not making this as a blanket statement, because to each of us we have different reasons and different views, and we get into things differently. But there's a possibility. Again, look, our two friends are saying that the love was there because there was a friendship. I believe there was admiration for each other, and so, but it wasn't something about marriage. But God says, hey, that is the person. What would you do? Do you say, God, I have no feeling for that person, I don't know if I want to marry that person or so? Or do you say, okay, God, well, if this was the person, you're gonna teach me, you're gonna help me to love that person in that way? Because you see, also, when intimacy, when love, when it's got the erotic type of love is gone or is missing or is not at the height that it used to be before, what happens? Do you walk out and say, I don't love that person anymore, so I am not going to be with that person, I am not going to stay with that person? And this is the reason, for example, when we look at that whole feelings, when we elevate that whole feeling lovey-dovey feeling and such like that, and guys, awesome, if you're in a relationship, try as much as possible to keep that to the highest level that you can. I'm saying that and encouraging us to do so. But when we have issues like when we have things like the other person is sick, and there isn't that erotic type of love, when that part is not as high as it used to do, what do? Do you walk out of the relationship, or do you make a choice to stay with the person? And these are some of the things, as we celebrate this so-called month of love, these are some of the things that we have to think about. These are some of the things that we have to encourage our young people, our friends, our neighbors about, because we have to come to a place to understand that love is, yes, it's a feeling, but it's more than a feeling. I want to pause and just welcome my friend Kristen. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. So we're talking about that here. Love. What love got to do with it? Is love necessary or needed for marriage? Some people, some relationship work out in the end, even if it start out as money business, even if it start out as a transaction, okay, and so it works out at the end. So a question is coming: how about a culture when parents chooses for the children? Is love a feeling? And I talked about that earlier in the conversation, especially in the Eastern culture where you had those arranged marriages. It did not start out in some cases with love, and it lasted. most arranged marriages start with nothing other than the parents saying they must get married. Okay, and yet many couples in this situation stay together longer and grow deeper in love than those claiming love in the beginning. And so we see where we have this situation on both sides. I mean, arranged marriages, sometimes I personally believe or feel that we should have continued with this whole arranged marriage. You know, I guess maybe because I'm a parent now, maybe as someone out there who looking for someone, and not sure if I wanted my parents to do that for me. But now as a parent, sometimes I feel when we see what's going on, I feel like we need to do that. If my children would allow me to do that, I sure will. But you know, that's just saying that the fact is that very important is that aspect of love being essential. But it is important, but at times it will happen where at the onset you don't have that aspect of love. Let me say hi, Pamela. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. So guys, what love got to do with it? This is Valentine's, you know. People would be sharing flowers and chocolate and such like that. I'm not sure where you are and how possible it is to have those lavish dinners out and such like that. That may not be possible, but for some of you, you may have your little candlelight dinner at home or something like that to take care of the one that you love. Great, good morning, cuz. Great having you locked on. Still warm there in New York City. Amen. So all right. So one of our friends said that they had an arranged marriage, but it did not work out. I wonder why it didn't work out. You didn't love that person, or it just wasn't the type of transaction that you can go with. Tell us a little more why it didn't work out. We didn't end up getting married because why? Is it that you did not love the person, you didn't have that feeling, or just like things didn't work out? Because we can end up even having arranged marriage, or let me say have an arranged relationship and it did not get into marriage. We can also love someone, have that lovey-dovey feeling, and then later when you start talking and you start dating and courting and you realize that, hey, this is not for what I want. Just let me say hi to Tracy. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. Great having you. Great having all you guys on. So we're saying that love is important in relationship. And first of all, we know that we need the agape type of love. We need the God kind of love. So we're not leaving that out. We need that friendship love. And this is another thing, because there are people who marry or as a couple and they start growing. Now after marriage is when you hear this saying, this is my best friend and such like that. So let's read some of the comment. Teaching children from early what real love is important, because they are now left in their adulthood to figure out for themselves and might make a mess of it. And let me add to that, because of all that we see, the Hollywood movies, the TikTok and the Instagram and all of that situation now that is telling you what love is supposed to be and all sort of crazy things. Yes, it's important that we're able to teach our people about love and so that we can get into this and we can really grow to love each other. And hear me, even if the relationship started with that lovey-dovey feeling and such like that, my encouragement is to let the love grow. let it grow. Reach out to each other. Love each other. Make a choice to love each other. And therefore, we have that relationship can come together even if there isn't that aspect of the erotic type of love before. Okay. So here again, thanks Iri. Here again, you say it is because both of you are not on the same page. So I'm not going to even say exactly what it was, but both of you at the time were not on the same page. Right? And so therefore it did not work out. Hi Auntie Bev, great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. Great having you, my sister. Alright, so how do you view the situation with Leah and Jacob, then Rachel and Jacob? Okay, how do we view that situation? There was an arranged marriage, and back then we see that it was part of the culture, and this is not going to deal with whether it is right or wrong. We're not dealing with whether polygamy is correct or incorrect or so. But we see for sure in the Bible where you had one man having several wives, and the issue with Leah and Jacob. As a matter of fact, I love you brought that because Jacob loved Rachel. And we notice that Jacob loved Rachel, and Leah wasn't loved as Rachel was. And so what Leah did, Leah started to making sure that she gave Jacob children so that he will love her more, right? So that he will love her more. And we know the conflict that took place, but in the end, they were, according to what we see, they were married and they worked things out. Alright? Now Desiree, hear me. If you go into that situation, you are going to into the discussion of whether or not we have the one person or being the right person. You're supposed to wait to marry you, not another woman. Therefore, now you're going to ask, is he out of the will of God or something like that? Because that was what was supposed to be. Hey, we're not necessarily going there. Okay? But this is another good question. How do we know that Rachel loved Jacob? She could have been in love with Abdul. I don't know. But as far as we see is that there was an arrangement and Rachel was willing to accept Jacob. So it may not have been that love at first sight. It may not have been that lovey-dovey issue. But what we have happened is that later on things worked out nicely for Rachel and Jacob. Hi Kadeen, great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. It's really great having you guys. Ava, great having you locked on Conversations with Dr. Els. We are talking about what love got to do with it. Do we have to be in love before we get into a relationship? Or could the love develop while we are in the relationship? We've been having some great comments and conversations here. And therefore, we understand that while love is important and love keep the relationship going, there is a possibility and there are times when it did not start with love, but it can work out. And there are times when it started with that lovey-dovey feeling and it did not work out. So whatever the situation you are in, my encouragement in this conversation is to work on it. If it didn't start with love, work on loving each other and work on making that choice to love each other. This generation is instant kids. They don't know the walk in the park, the opening car doors. They don't take time, I believe, to know each other. So that is saying that, hey, you've got to do these things, and so if we don't do these things, does that mean you don't love the person, or should that mean that you don't value or you don't be with that person because a person hasn't done those things? Is there a way where, and especially what we see for mature people, they make decision, hey, this person, like I said before, want to be with this person, we can see eye to eye, we're going to live together, and we have the same goal. It might be a business transaction. We want to build our corporation, and therefore we are just going to get married, or we're going to be a couple, and during the time we see where they've grown in love. A story just come to mind of a couple, and I'm sure many of you may have either read or heard about this and don't know whether it's a true story or not. But this couple, where the husband came home one day after being with someone, and said to his wife, I want to get married, I want a divorce, sorry, and bring the paper and everything like that. The wife took the paper. The wife said, okay, I'm going to sign this divorce under one condition. And the condition is that you give our son, you give me 1 month notice. And out of the story, not trying to make it too long, the wife said that for one reason. The son was doing exams and did not want to disrupt the son's life. But also the wife said another condition is you every morning you lift me up and take me out of the bedroom into to the doorway and such like that. And the story came where he did that the first morning. It was really awkward because, he may have lost the love that was there. So they looked very clumsy. The second morning, it was a little better. And as it goes on, it became a bit more comfortable, where the wife would put her head on his shoulder and such like that. And he ended up, at the end of the story, he ended up that he realized that, there was something that was missing that they weren't working on, and doing that helped them to spark, that love again, that feeling, that commitment again. And therefore he just tore up the divorce paper and said to the other woman, you know what, I'm not going through with this, I love my wife. But let me get back to some of our comments here. I believe that marriage should begin with 25%, and with continual prayer points, inviting Jesus or persons inviting Jesus at each point. When trouble comes in, invite Jesus. He will bring strength to the marriage. Okay, great. That 25%, we will see where that goes. Now there's a question: is there a distinction between love and being in love? And that's something we can continue to discuss, guys. I want you to join my Facebook group, Conversation with Dr. Els. Send a request, or I will try to invite you, and we will continue this discussion. I know, and I may come back to that, I know someone who was mad at God when God showed her who her husband was, because he did not want him. There wasn't that love at the beginning. They got married quickly, but then he turned out to be just what she needed. Paraphrasing her words. In her case, the love grew. And so we are seeing all the possibilities here, that there are instances where the love grew. And there are instances where it didn't start with love, but the love grew and such like that. And so here is the question that is being asked: is there a distinction between love and being in love? Okay, is there a distinction? Can I love someone and not being in love with them? And I would ask the question, or I would add to the question, do I have to be in love in love, as put, with someone to have a relationship with them. And that, I think that is also part of the issue. So if there's a difference with love and being in love, do I have to be in love with the person to be in a relationship with them? And it depends. It depends from my perspective, and you can share your views. From my perspective, it depends, because I believe you can love someone and not being in love with them, because of course we have, according to the Greek, the different words used for love. I'm missing my other Greek scholar, Danley. Where are you? Where are you, Danley? My other Greek scholar. But yes, it depends on what you mean, because they are the Greek words that we have for love, agape and eros and such like that. And I believe the erotic type of love is the love that we usually talk about when we talk about being in love. Okay, and when we talk about loving someone, we can love someone as a friend. We can love someone who are our blood or relationship, brotherly type of love. We can love someone as Christians. We have to have that brotherly type of love. We have to have that agape type of love. But we are not supposed to have that erotic type of love for everybody. So for some, that is the distinction that is being made between love and being in love. I can love somebody but don't have that feeling, that being in love. And so if we pose the question that I started earlier, what love got to do with it, meaning what erotic type of love or what being in love got to do with it, okay? So do I have to start with being in love before I get into a relationship with someone? And I hope we can continue to talk about that, because we talk about the 1 Corinthians 13 passage where it says love is kind, love is patient, and such like that. So we can have that kind of love for each other. And as the Greek scholar said earlier, that wasn't limited to marriage, even though we use it in weddings and such like that. But that wasn't limited to marriage, right? Okay, someone said, mine did not start as love. It was a challenge. Okay, it was a what do you mean by it was a challenge? I don't understand. If you don't mind, just expand on that more, because that is interesting too. It was a challenge. Let me use another situation. I know persons, especially in the north, where you do have that. But let me not just say in the north, because we have it across the globe. Right here in Barbados and other places, where you marry someone because you want to get your papers, and there isn't that whole aspect of erotic type of love there. But you marry for that reason. I'm gonna come back to that, because I want to say hi to Pastor Francis there in Rwanda. Hope you are having an awesome time. I want to say hi there to my daughter, Zonelle. Great having you locked on to conversations with Dr. Els. It's just great having you guys on. We are okay. So I don't think you have to start with love, but it might probably make it easier. Well, if it does make it easier, then the question might be, why is it that even then, with that, starting with that, making it easier, that somewhere through we have people giving up on that love or giving up on each other? So does it really make it easier? Again, I want to pause. Let me say hi to June. Great having you locked on to conversations with Dr. Els. And earlier they said, but we are heading for 18 years of marriage come the 22nd of this month. Congratulations, Arlene. Continue to work on that marriage and such like that. A challenge sounds like I'll prove you. That's why, my friend, I want to understand what that challenge might have been. But I'm glad that they took the challenge up and they are heading for 18 years. That is awesome. You know, and so we're talking about what love got to do with it. And someone is saying it should continue. It's good for someone who might be thinking about getting married this month. And so, but guys, you know, we're talking about that. My friend, you don't have anything to add. I'm sure there's so much that you can say. There's so much wisdom. There's so much wisdom out there among my friends and family who are always on conversations with Dr. Els. But guys, what love got to do with it? Now, we're going to continue this conversation. And like I said before, I want you to join. I want you to join my Facebook group, Conversation with Dr. Els, where we will continue to engage in topics like these, and you can share topics that you think we can talk about, and we can continue our discussion. And maybe I see someone is saying that we can continue this topic. So let's see what God will have, where we will go next week, because in this month of love we want to discuss a number of things, and one of the things I'm sure that we want to discuss, I would like to discuss this topic, is couples using sex, couples weaponizing sex, let me put it that way. So that's one of the things that we want to talk about at some point, couples weaponizing sex. We will talk about that. But for right now, Conversation with Dr. Els, we're talking about what love got to do with it. And there's when it's saying people assume that marriage is a continuation of dating. In fact, it's a whole new experience, and it's so challenging for some that within 6 months they get separated, and these people claim to be so in love. I guess then, because of the perspective, we know that we have what we call the ideal marriage, and we have the real marriage, and that is also something that we can deal with, we can talk about. But in the ideal marriage, you have where this is what, because we are so in love, we have all that dating, that issues, and especially you're not living together, so you see each other, just certain aspect of each other, and you put in all the work and you do all the great things, but then you come together and your life intertwine, and there are all the responsibilities, and the pastor has to go to the church office and has to do everything and take care of all the members of the church and this and that, and sometimes the spouse feel a bit left out. And we can go on with that. So you know, that is something we can also talk about. But yes, there's the ideal marriage and there's the real marriage. And people assume that it's easy and it work out because you're in love. But guys, it takes more than that. It takes commitment. It takes you know, commitment, a choice to keep loving each other. So hear me, Deswin. I think we have made about an hour, but let's continue this conversation. Join the chat, join the group, Conversations with Dr. Els. Some of you are already in there. Continue to post. Let's engage each other there, and we will see where it goes from here. But this has been Conversations with Dr. Els. We are here on Tuesdays at 11:30 Atlantic Standard Time, and we want to encourage you to share this even after we finish. Share this. This will help someone. Let's get some engagement. And you guys have been really a good group, and this is not an audience thing because we are having a conversation together. All right, let me just read this one. I mean, make it easier to enter the marriage as opposed to getting married to someone you don't love, and that is true. That makes it easier if you're already in that love, in that feeling. It makes it easier to go forward. But guys, like I said, let's continue this on our group. let's get into the group. Let's continue this, and let's see where it goes from here. We're going to call this a wrap today. Thank you for being a part of Conversations with Dr. Els. I love you, my friends, my family. Whatever you do, be safe. Stay warm. Those of you up there in the cold, I wish I could send you some warmth and some sunshine. But if you don't have it physically, know there is that sunshine from my heart to yours. And remember, whatever you do today, add value to someone's life. This has been Conversations with Dr. Els. Continue to be a part of this great conversation. Continue to be a part of this great conversation, and we're looking forward for our next session. That great having you locked on. We're just about finishing, and your insight is always great. We have our Conversations with Dr. Els Facebook group where we could continue this conversation. But great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. We've been talking about what love got to do with it, and we will continue this conversation. But this has brought us to the end of our Conversations with Dr. Els, and we will see you again next time, next week, God's willing, unless anything else is happening. Blessings on you, and great having you locked on. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.